Welcome down to the Golf Science Lab podcast. My name is Corey Walker. I'm your host. Today we are getting the video version of the audio podcast. So we were down in Mobile, Alabama with Tony Ruggiero. He's a top 100 instructor, great guy. We've had him on the podcast before. Had him done videos with him here on the YouTube channel before as well. In this episode, we are sitting in his backyard after dinner, after a long day of teaching. We just sat down with Tony, with one of his students, Michael Johnson. He's been on the web.com for 2 years now. Really hoping that he makes it this coming year onto the PGA Tour. Definitely will. And then a couple other fantastic instructors, Wayne Flint and Mark Wood. And we had this conversation about what does it take? What is it going to take for Mike to make it to the PGA Tour? And then this other kind of concept of what does it take to develop skill and how did he get good and what are these instructors doing with their students? So fantastic chat. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me and being honest and candid and having this kind of talk. But if you're not subscribed to the podcast, make sure to head over to Apple Podcasts or any of those platforms and subscribe. Stay tuned for all the episodes and hope you enjoy the video version, hanging out in the backyard. It was fun to throw these cameras down and capture this as well to bring you along for the journey.
What's most interesting to me right now is what does it take? Why are some people better than other people? And I'm curious to hear your perspective.
I think this is pretty interesting because we've had a bunch of teachers sit around, but now we got a tour player sitting with us, and he'll have a different perspective on everything that we do. Most of it,
For sure.
Yeah.
And he should.
Yeah.
So what does it take? You, how many years have you been on the web?
Just 2 years.
2 years. Okay. So what does it take for you this year to go to the PGA Tour?
Well, besides making a lot of putts and hitting a lot of fairways,
Hitting on the toe.
I mean, a lot of it is just the mental stability of the entire year, making good decisions. I played a lot of tournaments last year, and that I thought that was helping me, but in the end, it did not help me. But the guys who play really well, they're real smart about their time, and they're just good at golf. I mean, they just try not to get in their own way, which is hard to do. In a simple way, I mean, I don't think that's crazy.
What you said inside.
What did I say inside?
You said that you had to drive it better.
Me personally, yes. I've had some tour players tell me to play the PGA Tour, if you can hit a driver, a wedge, and a putter,
You can fake the rest of it.
you can play on the PGA Tour.
I agree.
So your checklist for this year is going to be hit my driver better.
A part of it, one part will be for me personally to take better care of myself. But like the best players in the world, if they have an afternoon tee time, they're going to work out before their tee time. I don't know if I've ever done that. Something I need to work on, but
I think he's got to do a better job this offseason. I mean, just being ready to play when the bell goes off next year, and the stuff we're working on, stay consistent with it through the off season and get his body more physically able and ready to go. I don't think we did a very good job of that last year, and he's had some back issues. So I think getting him ready to play is a big part of it. And, I thought he did a nice job staying with the plan, what we're working on. And then as you get in the heat of 11 in a row and those types of things, I think you let all the surrounding things kind of make you panic and start trying other things. And neither of us probably did a very good job sticking with what we needed to do. And so we're here, and we're going to have a good off season. And,
Nobody can play 11 in a row.
No, nobody. But it's hard to tell them in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell him like it's not going to work, but he makes a great point. He says, but I'm one start away, because he'd had a couple really good starts. I'm one start away from earning my PGA Tour card, which he's getting married. It's a life-changing event. So
The tour or getting married?
Yes.
Both.
And so, right? Speaking of getting married, here comes Mrs. Dewsweeper and film before a live studio audience. But but it's hard to tell him. I told him take a break. But when he says, but I'm 1 week away, and then you say, but if you're burned out and you're frustrated and you're not going to make the cut, it doesn't do you any good anyways. Yeah. But it's hard. I mean, you guys know you've all had great players so sometimes I think, and so like most of my guys are younger guys, the best thing to do is to let them find it out for themselves.
Yeah. From a player's perspective, what Tony was talking about, it's more of like you just want to get your card and then you can take a week off, instead of you should probably take a week off and then get your card. But
so you said something in there which I want to push on, is that like we got away from the plan, or we just didn't work our plan. What does that mean exactly? Like, what should you have done instead?
Well, I think that, I mean, I'll answer first, but like I think that, so when we started working middle of the year before, we had a couple things we worked on, and he played really well. He went from not playing very good at all and not making any money, wasn't even really set for being in the playoffs, to where he had some top fives, and you know, we had these things that we worked on. And I mean, everybody, like, I learned that from Woody and from Wayne. You have your things that you work on and you don't stray. And we did a really nice job with that through the first part of the year. And then you get in the middle of 11 in a row, and a guy's hitting it off the toe, he's driving it like shit, and he's hitting it all over. Well, it's hard to not give in to human nature to start trying to try things. And then you get 3 weeks down the road, and you've tried 12 different things, and you're so far away from the things that you know with him would work that you know. But I mean, I think we knew that. We kind of knew that towards the end, and we were like, look, we sat down. He was in like this inflatable suit at the he looked like the Marshmallow Man, but like down at the Web Tour Championship, and he said, like, you know, we just talked about the off season, like maybe I'll play good this week, maybe I won't, but what do we need to do to be better for next year? And we both agreed, like, okay, we're going to stick to what we know works for me, and I got to get back to driving it better. We'll figure that out. And if I do that and I have a good plan, I'm going to be fine next year. I mean, without question, it's not just because he's one of the most talented guys out there. I mean, he almost won a PGA Tour event, one of his first starts at Auburn. I mean, so he can play out there. Everybody acknowledges it. We just got to, you know, just stick with our plan.
yeah, no, I mean, I would say the player probably panics before the teacher, and that puts the teacher in a tough spot. I mean, as a player, you're asking the teacher to help you play better tomorrow, and golf doesn't work like that, unfortunately. But
I think that's the hardest part as a teacher. I mean, you guys know. I mean, I'm sure. I I think we all know sometimes when we're on the tee with them at a tour event that nothing we're going to tell them is going to make them have a good week. But you can't tell. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's hard to tell them that. Like, I mean, we don't have a shot. You know, I mean, and sometimes it's not their golf swing, it's their frame of mind and things going on at home and this, that, and the other. But, you know, I mean, I think that's the hard part about what we do.
So from your guys' perspective, what does it take? Is it another golf lesson? Is it more practice on the range? Is it playing more golf? Is it playing more tournaments? As the third party instructor here, what does it take?
Well, I mean, if you're asking me, I think it's a combination of all of it, right? I mean, they've got to be in a good frame of mind. I think the plan has to be sound, right? Because if you're chasing something that isn't going to work, I mean, I don't care how hard you chase it and how hard you try, it doesn't matter. You're still not going to be any better. And then, I've always likened it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So where do I want to be 5 years from now? Okay. And what do I need to do between now and then to get there? What do I need to be able to do better? I mean, if I need to drive it better, I need to drive it better. If I need to putt it better, I need to putt it better. If I need to wedge it better, I need to wedge it better. Now, that doesn't mean that I get to forget the other parts of my game. You're just saying I need to be better in this area. So there needs to be a part of the plan that addresses that. And then I think the player needs to buy into the plan.
I think there's certainly got to be, this is probably the hardest part that I've seen, is there's got to be some patience with the plan. Nobody wants that. They all want it this week, this tournament, for sure by the next tournament. There's got to be some patience and some trust in the plan that the plan's going to be good. And if we work the plan long enough, the fundamentals are going to get better and everything's going to improve in time. And so patience is the hardest thing, and because everybody wants it right now. I mean, the player for sure wants it right now. The teacher for sure wants it right now. I mean, I mean, the teacher's for sure wanting it because that makes their job easier, doesn't it? You know, so if it doesn't work, the teacher's job is harder. And so everybody wants it right now, but everybody has to have some sort of patience and trust in the plan that it will work. I think that's one of the hardest things.
So when is it time to be patient and when is it time to change?
Probably when you least want to be patient is when you should be patient. Golf is backwards. The more you aim right, you probably will miss more left. I mean, it's just backwards. It's a backward sport. It's the most frustrating, best sport there is.
What do you mean by change?
When is it time to work on changing your swing technique versus being patient with what you're working on right now?
I mean, I think if you have a good plan, I mean, I think most of the best players in the world all have worked. You look at, it's like four or whatever, the top 5 players in the world, they've all worked with the same person for a long period of time. Yeah. And I think you'll see more of that as more young guys come along. And I think that, like, there's an understanding that you're going to have ups and downs, and they have a real good understanding together of what they're working on. And like you've said it at least 5 times tonight and in the Dome today, like, golf's hard. And so no matter how good our plan is, I mean, we're going to have times we don't play very good or you don't play very good. And there's going to be times I probably don't teach very good. But together we're in it and we have a good plan. And I think, you know, I mean, I, for one, without him knowing it, sometimes he knows it, but like, these guys know, like, if I feel like I'm getting to where I'm not lost, but you're stumped or whatever, I'll send videos to Woody or to Wayne or to Brady Riggs or to other people. And then you get the information back. And then most of the time, everybody's saying the same thing I've been saying. It's like, okay, we just, like in Michael's instance, I'm using him as an example. It was like, we just needed to get to the end of the year and hit the reset button and give him a break to get married, get some time off, and have a week to work where there wasn't a tournament going off. I mean, like, today was the best time we've worked in 6 months, and it was just because there was nothing else going on and he was relaxed.
Yeah, no, it's like I said in the Dome earlier today, it's nice to work on stuff inside the Dome and not worry about what the ball is doing outside the Dome. You know, you're just trying to work on your footpath or whatever, trying to get your positions of the club better and not worry about what the ball's doing.
I mean, don't you guys? I mean, that's the hard part of the tour event, is that it does matter where the ball's going that day. Yeah, I mean, you're cheerleading or helping and doing, but you know, I get on social media and I watch some of these people and they talk about all these things they do with somebody at a tour event. And like, I don't think I've ever really had any success with anybody doing anything at a tour. I mean, like, try to help them manage whatever they got that week the best they can. Like, you know.
But you gotta watch them play,
right?
Okay, and because when you watch them play, and I know you've done it, I know I've done it. You know, where you caddy, right?
Yeah, I'm
and
retired.
You carry the
now.
bag. So then now you get to hear the positive and the negative self-talk, right? How they handle certain situations. You know, when they get scared, because we all do. We get scared, and then when they're super confident, you know, what's the different, you know, mindsets that they go through as a player, and then you got to be able to take that back when they're away from the golf course, away from a tournament, and they're back and they're practicing. Then you've got to be able to recreate whatever that is, to push that button, to try to recreate that same feeling. So then they have that aha moment, and then they have it. It's not for us to have. It's not for the teacher to have. It's for the player to have. But you got to help the teacher find that aha moment for themselves. They got to find it.
And I think a great thing that all the dew sleepers do, you know, Mark.
The dew sweepers.
Mark, Tony, and Wayne.
Mark's he's head of international.
That's
dew
right.
sweepers.
But you know, they, like, Tony will come to tournaments with us and he'll take us out to dinner and we'll have a bottle of wine, whatever, and we'll just be in a good mood. And, like, you know, I've never really had too much trouble as a pro golfer having stuff at home be bad, but I mean, I would imagine it's tough to play well if stuff's not going on great at home.
I think, yeah.
And Tony just makes it that week, or all y'all just makes it that week where you're in a good mood. And
well, you talked about caddying, and like I know Wayne went to the amateur this year, and you watch a round of golf. Like I try to mix my schedule up, like to where, this week I went and I watched practice round, and Wednesday, watched a few pro-am holes and flew back. But like, every third time out, I'll try to go watch Thursday and Friday play, because like the stuff they're doing on Thursday and Friday is different. Or then you'll get a guy like, Tom was a good example where like if he, played really good on Thursday, Friday, and he'd make the cut, and he didn't play very good. It's like, well, what the heck's different? See, I went and watched him play Saturday, Sunday, but like you get to, you just get to see. I don't think you can learn what somebody's doing and help them unless you actually like go watch them do it. I mean, I just think it's really hard, and I think coaching these guys just requires a lot. It just requires a lot of time, and we're all close to each other, and it takes a village. They're a village.
No, but it is a village. I mean, look, Michael and I have never spent any time around each other, but I felt like I knew him because we had a bunch of mutual friends.
Yep. I felt like I knew you too.
And you've watched a bunch of videos of him, and you
exactly.
have too.
But I mean, whether they be amateur golfers like a Jason Krause or a Tony or whatever, so we had, and I would hear your name all the time. We just had never met.
Right.
So it was. You always have an expectation. Right? I had no idea what to expect, but I had and it has lived up to the expectation, which was awesome.
I appreciate that.
No, it's good. I mean, but I'd heard nothing but nice things, so that's what I expected.
Well, I think the one thing we all do is we all care about our players, and we care about each other's players. I mean, I get film from Tony, and you and I talk, and we're all the time teaching stuff together, and I think we care. We hear all the stories, and we care about, when a player's injured or when a player's not playing well or when a player's achieving success. I mean, we're dealing with all the emotions up and down with those players because we care about them, because we do spend time with them. We eat dinner with them. We have a glass of wine with them, and we celebrate upcoming weddings with them, and watch them grow up and all that stuff. So I think that's a big deal, and I think that's part of what happens. I know that Tony's got going for sure, and I think we all try to do is we try to have a team with our players that. People around them that care about their success and try to help them through all that. And I think that's part of the thing that makes it work.
One of the coolest things that I've been able to do or been part of is so like I had more fun probably traveling the web this year than the tour, because they're grateful to see like nobody goes to the web, right? So you go to a web event and you offer to go.
Parking's great.
Parking's awesome, right? Hotels are cheaper. Right. Hotels are cheaper. Everything's cheaper, and but like you get everybody's offers to go out. There's less demands on their time, but like the whole where I would say every time I'd come in town, I would always put Michael in charge of team dinners, and he was very good with this. He learned to find. He actually found 3 different times. He found 2-for-1 wine specials. Now, he was in the middle of missing like 4 cuts in a row, but he couldn't find a fairway, but he could find a wine special, and he would do that, and we would have these team dinners, and then you took it to the tour though, and it was the same thing. And I think that having that community, so like. One of my students is Lucas Glover. He's obviously older. He's 38 or whatever. But getting him involved and with Tom and Michael and those guys, to me, has been the cool part. And it makes my job exponentially easier because welcome to the neighborhood. But it makes it easier. And I think that, I just think that's just, I don't know how, I didn't figure it out, but I just think that's just part of what we do that's a little different. And everybody's asked, having Wayne and Woody and those guys, and Like, you're just not afraid to ask somebody for help. I mean, like, I don't think it's a weakness that you get stumped with somebody and you ask somebody that's had more experience than you or that cares about your players to give you some advice. I don't think that shows you that you're a bad teacher if you ask somebody else for advice or to take a look. I mean, but to me, people are so territorial out there teaching, and they're so afraid that if somebody else gives you an opinion and it's the right thing, that it's like you didn't know anything,
I agree. That's the cool thing about y'all three is y'all are such great friends. Y'all trust each other with videos and players and whatever. Y'all just care about helping somebody play better golf.
Care about the player. That's right. I mean, the main thing is the player. Right. Always, I mean, everybody wants to do well and everybody wants to have success, but I mean, the main thing is take care of the player always, and
look, and it's fun for us to watch. It's fun for us to watch guys like you. I mean, to watch your career take off, and it's fun for us. I mean, look, we're fans. We read the sports page.
Well, I'm fans of y'all three too.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a mutual respect, and I think that's what's fun. That's the fun part about the game. I mean, it's a business for sure, but there's no reason you can't have fun. You got to love what you do. Then it's not work.
And I like what I like too is the guys, and I don't think people see this side, but like our group of guys, like they pull for each other, and so like MJ knows this, but like at the Web Tour finals, on the last hole, Lucas knew if he putted out first, he was going to be in the last group with Sepp, who had a chance to get his card. I mean, Lucas was going to be fine. I mean, Lucas was going to be right. And so he makes a point of when the other guy's getting ready to go, I mean, he goes and putts out so he can play in the last group with Sepp. And, like, we're, at the end of the day, he's like, Lucas is like, I just wanted to make sure I felt like that'd be good for him. I mean, I think that's cool that they try to help each other and they look out for each other. And, I mean,
that's a big deal.
I mean, it's a big deal because it's. I mean, because you've held a lead. Like, man, it's lonely out there when you're, and having somebody else there to help you sometimes makes a difference.
Yeah, Lucas is awesome. I mean, we played a practice round together in Columbus, and my back was kind of hurting me, and I was kind of off to the side, just trying to deal with that, and he must have. We're yeah. I was a little grumpy.
He was hitting it off the toe. That was during the toe days.
Yeah. We played 9 holes, and Lucas must have asked me 5 times if I was okay. I'm like, dude, I'm fine. Like, you worry about yourself. Like, you're in the playoffs too. But that's just the kind of person Lucas is. He's a very giving, very caring guy.
So one element of what does it take is, as Greg would say, is you have to lower the tension so you can have more freedom, right? And this is conjecture here, but by having that atmosphere, we're going to dinner, we cheer for each other, we're on the same team in a sense, not really, but that lowers the tension a little bit because you've got, like, you're not on an island, right? Am I right in that conjecture?
No, you're definitely right, and it's almost to another item is it's just another week. Like, it's another week I get to eat dinner with Tony, and this week's not as important as any other week, and it's just a routine.
I think it's the same for us as teachers too. We're not on an island by ourselves. I mean, I know I've got Woody, I know I've got Tony. Sure. I mean, I've got friends, Brady and Mike and the guys around the country that if I need to bounce something off of, we can all do that. And we are friends and we rely on each other. Yeah. And I think we're not on the island by ourselves, trying to figure it all out when it's not going well. Because every once in a while it doesn't go well, I mean, we all want it to, but it doesn't always happen. And so, having your group or your core group of friends that are teachers or players or whatever, I think that helps the whole deal.
Golf is hard.
That's number six.
So maybe kind of a last conversation starter here. Looking back on how you got good, right? How did you get good?
Just the same stuff that me and Tony worked on, fundamentals and just getting better at what you're good at. I mean, and improving on your stuff you're not good at. Nothing crazy. It's not a scientific formula.
Yeah, great upbringing, right? Work with Hank.
Hank gave everything I talk about the golf swing is something Hank has taught me for sure. I mean, I haven't taken from Tony long enough to get his sense in my brain, if that makes any sense. But Hank's done a great job with me, growing me up. And
I mean, did you spend time playing all the time? Were you at the course constantly? Were you at the range all the time? Like, how did you get good?
I grew up at a club where I couldn't really hit golf balls on the range, so I played a lot. And I played in the men's group where I allegedly had a backer, so if I lost money in the men's group, I didn't have to pay, but if I won money, I got to keep the money. And I think that was huge for me to be competitive. Like, even today, I cannot play a golf round without gambling. And it's not a gambling addiction. It's just like I want to win, you know. I want to I'll play for $5. It's fine with me. I just want to take your $5. So I think being competitive is probably my best attribute.
I mean, that's a good way to get good, I think. I mean, what do you guys hear?
Yeah.
They worked harder.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it was
winning mattered.
Yeah.
You know, obviously winning mattered a lot.
When you lose, I mean, you want to get better.
Yeah. Didn't like it.
No. And it's more of like, man, I practice more than that kid, but that kid keeps beating me. It's just like, I just have to practice more. I just got to practice more, do more. Golf is a never-ending result, I guess. Like, you cannot perfect the game. There's always something to work on, and I think that's why a lot of people play it.
Yeah. So you played a lot.
I played. I definitely played more than I practiced.
Interesting.
You can gamble more when you play.
That's fun.
And I think, I mean, a lot of the good players I've seen, and you, Woody, I know you did it at North River. Wayne, you were around a bunch of them when you were, you know, like, it seems to me that good players come up in packs of good players where you got a few good players and they play all the time with other good players. You know, I don't see near as many. I know you played with Robbie Prater and a bunch of those guys, and you look at the good players that are the same age, the Bobby Weiss, the Robbie Sheltons and those guys, and Tom and so forth. Like, but you don't see as many one person individual just became really good. I don't see that as much teaching. It happens, I know, occasionally, right? But it seems like you find packs or groups where you get a couple good kids and they push each other. And again, I think it's more they play all the time, and then I think when they get older they learn to practice the right way. Part of what we do in camps, I know you spend a bunch of time teaching them how to practice.
But it's lonely. The game's lonely.
Yes.
Right?
They get a little older. They get to where they can refine everything. And the refining of it is what makes them a lot better. But, I mean, going out and playing and learn how to shoot a number, I mean, and beat their buddy or, you know, beat their friends, whatever, that's how you learn to compete, you know. And I think everybody who gets any good at some point learns how to compete and learns how to beat their buddy, you know.
I mean, Wayne teaches a guy, John Michael O'Toole, just homemade, just loves to win. You
homemade as you can get right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And he doesn't care about technique he cares about his technique, but I mean he's not worried about like, oh, what is this person going to think about my swing or whatever. He knows that there's a easy par 5 will probably make birdie. So
yeah. That's right.
So how do you replicate that, or how do you create an environment like that?
Well, I mean, he's got a little bit more of a homemade golf swing than everybody else, you know, than the general thing you see on tour. But I've never tried to take that golf swing and make it perfect. I've let him still be his own guy.
It's very functional.
And I've tried to just clean it up and shine it up a little bit. And I mean, he's a heck of a player. I mean, he's won overseas, and he's won a couple times over there. And you know, who knows what the future will hold. I mean, you know, will he be able to get back over over from Asia back to America and get his tour card. Only time will tell. But again, he's not trying to be perfect. He's trying to be a good player, and he understands, he's trying to get better, no question about that, but he's not trying to make his golf swing look like a picture in a magazine. I mean, he's trying to make his golf swing perform as good as he can make it perform, and he's a bulldog. He's out there trying to beat people every single day, and only time will tell. Like I said, he's a great young guy and a great talent, and we'll see what the future holds. But everybody doesn't have to swing perfect, to be a great player, and they have to. He's certainly trying to learn to play from every person he plays around. I mean, everybody he's with, he's trying to learn something from them and trying to become better from them, and he's got a lot of confidence in himself. So I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's not afraid. I mean, we played Wolf the other day. It was me, him, and Sepp Straka, who's on tour now, and Trey Molnax, who's on tour. And, we were talking about how much we want to play for a hole, and John Michael didn't bat an eye. I mean, he's ready to go. I mean, he's not afraid. But and it not that I'm in any better position than John Michael or whatever, but he inspires me a little bit for sure, just to be more confident in myself and kind of play like him. I mean, he's fun to be around and fun to watch, really.
Right. So this is a super interesting question. Maybe we'll just go around and we'll end with this, have each of you answer this, but kind of two questions of what do you want to see happen, and then what worries you the most as golf instructor, as player? Just out of curiosity, I think this is an interesting.
Well, what I want to see happen, I want to see whoever my student is achieve their goals. And if you're talking about players at Michael's caliber and John Michael and those kind of players, you want to see them get to the PGA Tour, because that's been their goal since they were a kid. And I want to see them accomplish their goals. And what am I afraid is going to happen?
What worries you?
What worries me? Well, I think the thing that worries me, I go back to the original thing I said, is the patience. The thing that worries me is when it doesn't happen fast enough. It worries me that they'll jump ship and go chase something else. And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that know a lot more than I know and maybe can do a lot better than I can do, but I don't see that. I don't see that jumping ship and changing programs. I don't see that working all the time. So I hope players are a little more patient to achieve their goals. And the thing I'm always trying to do, being around Woody and Tony and all these guys, is trying to figure out how to make my people better faster, so that they don't feel the need to jump ship and go somewhere else. So. Yeah, I guess that sums it up. I want the best for my player, and I want him to be patient to stay with me long enough to try to get to that end goal.
Yeah, patience is so hard because if it's your livelihood, you have to have a financial runway.
Sure.
You've got to have the mindset to stick with it. Patience is hard.
I get it.
If it's your living, it's really hard.
Yeah, I get it on both sides of it. I'm not saying that makes it easy. I totally understand it, and I totally know that that's what, they're after the best for themselves, in which they should be. So, you hear guys all the time getting interviewed on tour. What are you going to do tomorrow with a 2-shot lead? Well, I'm going to go out there and be patient. They say it every week. You hear it every week on TV, and it's just hard to convince people sometimes from the instruction side to be as patient as that I think they need to be to try to stay there and learn to do what they need to do.
Woody, what do you want to see happen, and then what worries you?
I think what I would always want to see happen is I'd want the student to be able to understand themselves and understand their golf. They don't need to understand the golf swing. They need to understand their golf swing, and they need to be able to put themselves back together and have an understanding of why. So if they're at a tournament and they're not hitting it very good, they shouldn't be lost. shouldn't take them very long to go back to the range and get themselves to hit their ball solid again. And if they did that, I mean, then I've done my job as a teacher, because I've helped them attain the knowledge that it takes for them to play good golf. What worries me, I think they get bored. I think they get bored, and they fall out of love of the game, trying to beat people. And I mean, the competition, I think that, you know, as they get older and they achieve their goals and things like that, they get bored. And it's a grind. I mean, it's a super hard life. It's not. It looks fun on television when they're, you know, playing good on Sunday, but they didn't see Monday when they flew in there and got their clothes dry cleaned and found the hotel. I mean, they didn't see all the stuff that's not so fun. And that's a long time between Monday and Sunday. So, I mean, I just hope they still love the game. They love the game. It's a wonderful sport, and do it for as long as they want to do it. And then when it's time to hang it up, hang it up. Have no regrets.
What do you got? What do you want to see happen, and then what worries you?
As a player, I'll go ahead and say players are very selfish because they want both at the same time. They want to play good tomorrow, and they want to see progress tomorrow with their swing, and that's unrealistic. I fall into that trap sometimes for sure, and but in the long run, I like to see my game progress. Whatever I need to help in, you know, driving the ball straight is kind of what we've been focusing on. And yeah, I mean, players are selfish in that because I'm not a teacher, but I'll play a practice round with some guys, and I'll just be like, yeah, you know, I think you're doing this, whatever, and they'll try it, and they're like, nope, that didn't work. I'm like, I can't imagine doing this for a living. Because like kind of like what Mark said about his teacher or his students, he wants them to know about their golf swing. You don't need to know about the golf swing, and that's kind of what I fall into. Is I know a lot about me. I don't know a lot about what to make y'all a better golfer. I can tell you how to aim it, how to grip the club, but, well, I kind of asked Tony about my grip today, but I can't help that much. Right. So.
What worries you?
Just, I would say working on stuff that you're not supposed to be working on. I mean, just not wasting your time, or and that'll turn into kind of what Mark said about not having fun and, you know, not loving the game. Not that I'm worried about that at all now. So you're good.
Too young, right?
Right.
But how you spend your time.
Right.
Don't waste it.
Yeah, and honestly, health is probably a big issue. A little bit for me, not a lot, but health. I mean, in this game, the big ball wins. You know, if you keep hitting that ground constantly, it's gonna beat you up. So you got to be careful.
What do you want to see happen, and what worries you the most, Mr. Ruggiero?
I mean, I just want to see. I mean, I got a good group of young guys, and so, you know, I just want to see us find a way to help all of them be the best at whatever they can be, you know, to like find ways doing whatever they're good at doing to achieve what they want. You know, I mean, that's the biggest goal. I mean, not really any more complicated than that, you know, just help each of them. Every one of them is different. Every one of them has different personalities. Everybody has different golf swings. So find what it is we can help them do to get where they're trying to go. I mean, I think that's it, really. I mean, you know.
Anything worry you? What worries you?
Yeah, I mean, Yvonne's sitting over there can tell you, like, I panic every day when one of them plays bad, that I've told them something wrong, or I'm not smart enough, or I haven't done a good enough job. I mean, that worries me every day. I mean, I you know, that's why I drink wine.
What's your classic text?
Am I fired? Am I fired? Yeah, that text, Michael's gotten 26 of those in the last month, you know. But, like, you know, I mean, so I live, I mean, I think that's, I mean, none of my guys they would all tell you that's like my big, because, you know, I don't, like, all of my guys are super talented people, and you don't want to be, I don't ever want to be the reason, and the reason I share videos and ask for help is I don't ever want to be the reason one of them doesn't get to where they're supposed to be because I didn't do a good enough job or I didn't ask for enough help. And so that's just kind of the way I think about it. I would hate to see somebody young with a big future in front of them not get there because something I could have done or asked somebody for help or done something like that.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this. If you made it this far, that is unbelievable. I hope that you enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast. That is the #1 place for the Golf Science Lab that you should check out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. We have an Amazon Alexa skill. Make sure to do that, and I hope to talk with you there more.